Hi, guys, it's Miss Ulrich, and I am here to talk to you about the Mexican War, including its causes and effects, along with how we get the Oregon Territory. The story starts with this guy, James K. Polk, being elected to office in 1844. He defeats Henry Clay and the Whigs. He will serve one term, and you got to love his mullet, by the way. But he's going to be elected when he promises four things. One of the things he's going to promise is that we're going to get this land right here, Texas. The second promise he's going to make is that we're going to get this land right here, the Southwest area. And the third promise he makes is we're going to get this yellow territory here, the Oregon Territory. And the fourth promise he makes is that he's going to do this all in one term. And believe it or not, he fulfills all four of those campaign promises. He was a very, very busy man. Not surprising that he actually dies shortly after finishing his 4 years in office. A lot of people believed he just worked himself to death. So first thing is that we're going to get Texas in 1846. And so you can see that the balance between slave states and free states was maintained, which was a big deal, as was talked about earlier, as to why we didn't annex Texas. So next we go to Oregon. A lot of Americans had flooded out to this region, for great fishing and lumber and so forth. And so Americans then wanted to make this a part of the United States, to annex it. And so the rallying cry, 54-40 or fight, became very big. Remember, anything in red is a Quizlet term. And so that meant that they wanted the boundary of Oregon to be up here. James K. Polk decides he negotiates with Britain, who owned this territory at the time, and recognizes that we cannot we aren't capable of going to war with Britain at this point, in large part because we're also getting bogged down in fighting Mexico, which I'll talk about in a second. And so we end up negotiating here at the 49th parallel. We buy this land from Britain, and now we have the Oregon Territory. So that is this yellow chunk of land. So we've got the yellow already and the orange already, thanks to James K. Polk. Now let's talk about the purple. And that actually starts with a border dispute with Texas. So remember, we already had Texas, but the Mexicans say that the border of Texas is this river right here called the Nueces River. Americans say, no, the border of Texas is actually this river right here, the Rio Grande River. So James K. Polk, looking to get some more land, he'd actually tried to buy this territory from Mexico, and they refused. So what does Polk do? He actually puts troops into this disputed region right here. And you can see it on this next map too. He puts the troops right here. And Mexico, of course, takes this as an act of war, fires upon the troops, and then Polk then is able to convince Congress that now we need to fight back. And that's what this says here. Mexico has passed the boundary of the U.S., has invaded our territory, and shed American blood upon the American soil. And with that, Congress declares war on Mexico. Really, the root cause, of course, is us just trying to get more land. Some people say that this was, in fact, a provoked war, as we were just looking to get more land. You don't have to know anything about the battles, but you can see most of the battles occurred in Mexico or Mexican territory. It'll make a name for Zachary Taylor, a general during this. He'll go on to be president after Polk. The war goes from 1846 to 1848. Ultimately, the United States will win, killing, though, over 13,000 American soldiers. As you can see, though, most of them are going to be from disease. Not very many die in battle. And here you can see where the Mexican War stacks up compared to other wars in terms of how many troops were utilized, and again, in terms of deaths per 100,000 people, how it stacks up. So with the war ending, the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo is signed, and the United States now is able to buy this chunk of land, a Quizlet term, called the Mexican Cession. So we get a lot more land as a result of defeating Mexico. And this, of course, is going to bring about what major hotbed issue that continues to resurface? That would, of course, be slavery. And so one congressman named David Wilmot makes this proposal called the Wilmot Proviso. He proposes that slavery should be banned in all of this region here in the Mexican cession. It was not passed by Congress, but if you ever need a Quizlet term for this time period, this is in 1848, showing that slavery was dividing the country. This definitely shows that as we get more land, that whole slavery debate is just going to be magnified, because now the debate becomes, what do we do with that new land? Is it going to be slave states or free states? And so, again, if we go back to the map, Polk delivers on his promises. We get the Orange, Texas. We get this Mexican cession now as a result of defeating the Mexicans in the Mexican War in 1848. And we get Oregon. We buy this from Britain. And so Polk is often the forgotten president, but he definitely did a lot in terms of increasing our land. So it's kind of sad that not everyone remembers him. All right, that's it, guys. Take care.